welcome to the next episode of the Diverse Creative Podcast. This is another of the Splashy Fen Chronicles, and this time around I got to interview international act Darren Kiely. First off, Kiely, guys, not Kiely. He didn't bother to correct me. I called him Darren Kiely, and he didn't bother to correct me, not even once. It was only after the fact that I found out that I'd put my foot in my mouth a little bit. But either way, amazing, down-to-earth human being, and I got to chat to him about where he comes from, his roots, and how that affects the music he puts out into the world, and his experience at Splashy Fen Music Festival, his first appearance here in South Africa. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview as much as I enjoyed doing it. So welcome to Splashy Fen 2025, and we've been doing some amazing on-site interviews, and I get to interview Darren Kiely, who is all the way from Ireland. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. How are you enjoying the South African weather? I got to start there because it's cooking today.
Yeah. Some people are cold. Some people, I think it's roasting. And we've been asked a few times if we needed sun cream. It looks like I've never seen the sun before. So plenty of sun cream on, so we're good.
The funniest thing is, even when I was living in the UK and Ireland, I looked as pale as can be. There's something just different about the actual intensity of the sunshine, I think.
Yeah. There's a lot of very pale people. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so obviously, is this your first time here in South Africa? I'm not going to assume it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Exciting adventure?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's very hard to... I don't even know what I thought it was going to be like, but you're never going to imagine a place how it is. And it's been... Yeah, the countryside here is amazing. The mountains and the backdrop here. People are so friendly. You definitely don't feel like an outsider. Like, I haven't felt once like I'm, maybe one of the fewer people, I guess, that are from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's been really nice. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I think we are renowned for our friendliness, especially here in KZN. We tend to pride ourselves on being a fairly friendly bunch, even comparatively to the rest of the country. I think in KZN you've won here. You found the friendly province.
Yeah, people are like really thankful that you came here. We're delighted. If people are going to listen, we're going to go. But they've been so nice.
That's amazing. So now getting straight into the reason you're here is obviously to perform here at Splashy Fen. You're performing on the main stage tonight, and I think that, I know a lot of people who are actually great fans of yours, like my sister-in-law. She's like a huge fan. And one of the first things she said to me when I said, why? Tell me why. Before I go and listen, tell me why.
Yeah.
And she said to me that she feels like you're really authentic and down to earth, and like what you write about is real and approachable. That's what she felt about your music.
It's lovely, yeah. Yeah.
So I thought, okay, that's a good reason. It's for me as a songwriter, that's a great reason. I'll go and listen.
Yeah, I think it's hard to. You always wonder why they like it, or you'd love to hand out a survey. It's like, why are you listening? So it's nice to get feedback, and I try and write stuff as honestly as possible. That's kind of like the music I like as well. Is you feel like you can believe the person, but you never know if that's how it comes across. So it's nice when people say that.
And so you write a lot of your own life experiences, or do you find inspiration in other places?
Yeah, usually about how I feel or what I think. Definitely, you're going to different places. It gets me thinking about life maybe a little bit differently. So whether it's a personal experience or a personal experience in an environment, if that makes sense, I think that's where, that's just how I know how to write. I don't know if I can. Some people are great at telling stories by just seeing people. I don't know if I'm like that as much. It's more from what I feel, I think.
Well, I think it's obviously why people connect with it so easily. It's that it comes from the heart. And we all share experiences, regardless of where we come from in the world or what our cultural backgrounds are. Some experiences are just human.
Yeah, that's the nice thing I think about music. I mean, a lot of people write songs, myself included, that are like really specific to a situation, and people mightn't have gone through that specific thing, but it's they can draw on something in it, which is nice that you can find a connection like that, through, I guess, universal feelings, but maybe not universal specific things. Yeah, experiences. But it's a really nice thing when you see people connecting. And I know from music I like listening to, when you, I don't know the person or that situation they went through, but you can take something and apply it to yourself. That's really, it's a nice feeling. You feel less lonely maybe about what you experience, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're a guitarist as well. And how much of your music is written from kind of melody and guitar structure first, and how much of it is lyric based first?
It's A lot of the songs I've written have been messing around on guitar.
Come up with a cool riff and things
yeah,
like,
no,
this sounds
and
great,
they're
I
not
gotta
even
run
cool
with
riffs.
this.
Like I'm not even. I'm really not proficient at guitar. But I think when I try and learn something new or try and, that's when you hear things that are a little different to what you normally hear when you play guitar. For me, I mess around on other instruments too, and sometimes that's just inspiring. And then, yeah, try and shout different melodies, see what feels nice, and then usually the lyrics come at the very end. I don't usually start with a concept. I try and let whatever I'm expressing kind of get the rest of the stuff out of there. But it's different every time. But yeah.
Yeah, and the songwriting process is something I'm very passionate about. I run songwriting workshops, and I feel like I'm very passionate about original music. I play a lot. Well, I play all original music. I'm like stubborn. I'm like, covers, that's great. Somebody else can do them. I'm just holding fort for those people who want to play originals. How big a factor do you think that is in the music that you choose to play? Do you choose more originals in general? Do you only play originals? Do you play covers?
We don't, like, I was trying to think of the last time we played a cover live. Maybe this time last year was the last time during one of my own shows that we played a cover. It's usually, I'm kind of, we were even talking about it for this, and definitely when you play festivals and it's, it can be, people can just stumble into the tent. They may, like, I'm sure there'll be loads of people today that won't know any of the music.
Stumblers.
But I don't know, I'm kind of hopeful that the general vibe usually with the music is good enough to carry itself. But I think I do love when you're at a set and the odd random cover comes on. Sometimes it can be good, but for now I think today we'll just play my own music. But
that's
yeah, it has its place, and I do love. There's some artists that do a cover in a certain way where they make it their own, and I think that's a skill that I don't think that gets talked about probably.
Yeah,
enough.
that's like a rendition rather than a full-on cover.
Yeah,
right?
well, they make it their own.
Adapted some of the song to suit their particular style, and it makes it more because it's like a layer of paintings.
And I think, like, there's a skill to making songs and your own melodies and lyrics, but when you take something that you know so well in a certain way and shape it your own way and make it maybe better sometimes, I think that's really impressive.
It's a skill.
I don't think it's talked about enough, maybe.
No, that's a nice way. It's a nice conversation to bring up, actually. I like that one. I'm going to raise it with more people in the future.
Yeah, it's something I wish I was better at, but there's some people that are just,
definitely
they have
skilled at it. Yeah, I hear you completely. Totally a talent. Yeah, and I think that I've listened to your songs, and the other thing is the production's fantastic. Really sounds like phenomenal production, and it makes the sound, even though I feel like a lot of it is dominantly you and your guitar, like it makes it sound so full. There's a lot of other things going on in the background. Tell me a little bit about your latest releases. Tell me a little bit about the recording process behind them.
Yeah, it always starts with me playing the song in the room acoustically, so just guitar and play it down, and then with the producer we kind of arranged it. We're like, this is going to be the structure, and then we build from there. Usually try and get the tempo and the guitars done first, and then probably add in a lot of stuff like pianos, drums, whatever else gets added in, and then at the very end of that, it's like, I don't think it's very much a stripped back thing. And if something isn't working, it's never. I don't think it's ever been add this. It's like, okay, I think we take away this, and a lot of the songs start off just guitar really at the start, and we try and build them and try and
create like a story in the music.
Create it, like make it dynamic, I think, and a lot. I have a bias towards getting to a finish that's big and anthemic, but that's kind of where the production process is, kind of the basics of it, I think. Yeah.
And how involved in all of that are you? Like, I know some artists like myself, like I trust my sound engineers a lot, but at the same time I have this need to also know that it's turning out to be something that fills me up and makes me feel like I got the song the way I envisioned it, right?
Yeah, I think it's I'm definitely always, I feel like I want to have a hold on where it goes, but I'm like that, I'm open to adding so many things, or if if the producer thinks it's a good thing to go this way, I'll say, yeah, let's do it, let's try it. I wouldn't there's not many things I would shut down, but it at the end of it all, it has to come back to something that maybe it's not the vision that I had at the start, but if I don't love it the way I want to love it, I think that's when it's like it's not done yet, and I'll be involved until it feels like that. I think. Yeah.
Do you feel like a song that you write evolves in the process of recording it? Because I know, like for myself, I'll write a song and I'll go in to record it, and suddenly I find like a harmony I didn't have before because I've listened to it a couple more times in a different perspective, and someone's added in some cool electric guitar licks or some bass, and I'm suddenly like, actually, wait, there's a place I can go there that I didn't think of before, and the song evolves. How often does that?
1,000,000%. There's definitely a few songs I have that and I don't even know if people listening to it in general are even as excited about a certain part as I am, but there's things that the musicians will do that I'm like, that actually is my favorite part of the song.
So cool.
That I could never have come up with myself. And that's the beauty of it is you're hoping to find those bits of magic that same with songwriting with other people, that there's things that you'd never have landed on yourself.
Absolutely,
that people can do, and it you're hoping with every song that you get produced that there's new things that are just magical about it, I think.
And so how valuable do you think collaboration is then?
Huge. I think there's a certain energy you can give to something yourself, but when you start getting inspired by other people and they're in the room with you, and especially like talented people, I'm definitely not I'm not a very talented musician or
modest dude, very modest.
No, I've been in the room with some people and you're like, I have no idea how they did that or how they thought of that. There's just some people's brains just working it
that are just genius.
They're like in another dimension, honestly.
I do fully appreciate that.
And
I know a few.
It's like it gives you a surge of energy to go I want to, something new will happen, or you create something off of that. And I think it's a core part of music. I mean, you're almost collaborating when you play live,
Absolutely,
You're playing live with the band, obviously, that collaboration, but with the audience, there's an energy to that, and I think it's hard to articulate what it is. It's
I'm so glad you actually raised this topic, because this was exactly something I spoke about in yesterday's interview with Jamie Lee Sexton. I said the same thing. I said to her, how much do you find a song develops because of that interaction with an audience? Like, I know when I play a song and I think it's great, I'm in love with the song, but it's brand new, right? It's like a baby. Now I go out onto stage with it and I play it, and it either gets lifted up and built some more, or gets stripped back a little bit, and it gets sent back to production so I can work on it a bit more. And I find that the reactions of audience members to certain parts maybe change the way a song flows, and the audience is so integral to the creative process, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, and I think whether it's unfortunate or not, when you have released stuff already and then you start playing it and maybe it becomes more well known, you're like, I really would have probably emphasized that part more, for better or for worse. Who knows? I mean, you have to let it go at some point, but you never, for me anyway, there's so many parts of songs that I was like, I never realized that was the part that people would cling on to, as much. You've some idea, but then sometimes you're like, that's mad. You get taken aback that's the part that people gravitate towards, which is again another form of collaboration or feedback, which is something you kind of wish you'd have when you're recording the songs.
I know, just to be able to tune in, do a live feed of the recording session and get feedback while you were doing it. Quite a quirky idea, actually, and maybe a cool idea to do with a fan base, to have a live recording of even just one song, where you get a live feed going and people can comment on that live feed and be part of that recording process.
Yeah, I think they're...
Damn, that's a great marketing idea. I'm so running with that.
Cut that, hold on to it. Yeah.
It's gold, guys. It's total gold. But I think we're all really quite excited for your set. I'm very excited because you're going to be playing originals, and even if you did throw in a cover, I'd still be stoked, because it's nice to come across international acts that we bring out here that kind of stand up and say, this is my music, and I hope at least that inspires our local musicians to feel more confident about their own music too.
Yeah, and just from walking around here yesterday, it seemed like people were playing their own music. People were just as into it as any other songs. Yeah, maybe they mightn't have known the words to sing along, but it feels like the audience is here to listen to original music, which is really nice, because in different settings, it's when when you know songs, it's sometimes that can be why people are there. But this just feels like people just want to vibe to music. It doesn't matter if they know it beforehand or not, which is really nice.
I know it's one of the things about, I think, festivals that we hope to find is exactly that people are there to just connect with what's there and appreciate what is on offer for what it is. Yeah. And I think I know I work very closely with this festival and with the organizers, and it's a very well-run, efficient festival in general, and I think at a very high and international standard. And how do you, as an artist coming from overseas, find that experience?
Oh, it seems like you don't feel stress off anybody. Like feels like everything's just been organized so well that it's just like, we need to do this, but like no one's really running around. You don't see anyone under pressure, and the whole vibe, that I think that feeds on to the people who are at the festival too. That if like you go into any place, like I feel like sometimes you go into a restaurant and people are nice and they welcome you in a nice way, you automatically enjoy it a million times more, and it feels like that here. Yeah.
I'm so glad. I hope you're going to have a good kind of run around this festival over the next. You're here for this evening, and I assume some of tomorrow at least?
No, we actually have to go to Cape Town. Yeah, we play in Cape Town tomorrow night. Okay. So we have.
This is an impressive tour schedule. I like it. What else is coming on after that? Are you just playing the show in Cape Town and heading back?
Yes, we played in Johannesburg on Thursday night. So we just got here yesterday afternoon, and then we go back to America on Monday for some shows there. So
fantastic. What brought you to music in the first place?
I think music had always been listening to music had always been a big part of my life. I played Irish traditional music growing up, so it was always playing it was always part of my life, but those two things were separate. Like popular music and music I would have grown up to listening to was very separate from that. And then I think as I got into my later teenage years, I just needed a form of expression, really, and that's how I found writing, and that's how I kind of wanted to make songs, and I think watching concerts and artists that I love, I wanted to see if that was possible at any level. I went to festivals. There's one in Ireland that I would have gone to called Electric Picnic, and they have tons of stages, loads of stages, and there was definitely one in the woods that I remember being like, I'd love to just be able to play there one day. Like that was the end goal, and just that excited me. That felt like music has always felt magical. I've always, my experiences in life that have felt like almost out of body or amazing have been around
like transcendent
music.
Really.
Yeah, and that's what I'm. The first time I remember listening back to my voice singing a song or writing something, and it wasn't any good, but at the time it was like it almost felt magical, even though I listen back to it now, I
cringe
bury
a little.
it, burn it if I could. It's funny, when you get a new phone, everything backs up and I find those things again and I delete them again. So but that's why I think I've kept doing it. It's just better than anything else I've found to do.
I think it's an amazing thing when you're doing the thing you're meant to be doing. That's what it feels like, That there's a glow to it, and it lights you up. And for me, I know I feel much the same way. It's like a compulsion. I can't really not do music. It's what I'm meant to be doing. So you do it with your whole heart. And I think when you're doing something from that wholehearted place, you can't help but succeed. And I think that's definitely something that you're clearly on your way to, being greatly successful. How do you feel like sort of Irish folk music molded the sound you have? Because I grew up on Irish folk music too, solidly. Like my mom, that was what was going down in my house at any given moment in time. Dancing around the kitchen like a crazy hooligan. That was where I was at as a sort of young teenager growing up, and from my early years. So how much do you feel like that's molded the sound you now want to put out into the world?
I think it's had a big part. I think any music you grew up loving and listening to, that's where I would have found those moments where I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So when you're trying to find that with your own music, you're likely going to land on something that's close to what was amazing growing up. I found. I've always loved the energy that it's had that I'm, trying to capture in my music. I love the storytelling, and then there's a lot of quiet parts and intimate parts to it that you don't get in all types of music that I try to capture in some songs. So I think it's had a big part, along with whatever other music I listen to. I think I was always like, this is amazing that someone came up with this as a song, or as a piece of music. Like, I don't even know how they started, and that's why you try and not replicate, but try and I wonder if I could do that,
capture a piece of that sound.
Yeah.
And I also think it's good because it pushes you to explore what you're capable of. To be inspired by others is a fantastic thing. And if you could give a message to upcoming musicians today, something that maybe has stood out for you about your journey that has led you towards being successful, what would that nugget of wisdom be? Give me a nugget.
I don't know. I guess it does depend on people's outlook, because some people are very confident and they're going to go for everything. Some people are not. But I think trying things and getting feedback from whatever you try. I don't think failing is the right word for it. I've gone through so many situations where I'm like, I just had to do that thing to learn from it, to get to the next thing, and there's thousands of them. There's so many of different things that you have to try out when you want to play original music all the time. And I think it's not a case of something's going to happen, eventually, that if you kind of sit around and it happens. I think
that waiting for someone to come and pick you up and pull you onto stage and make you that rock star that you've always wanted to be.
I think there's a perception talking to people that, if you just got, and people will say to me nowadays, if this person heard your music or if that person heard your music, and I think that's not the case. I think it's the people who try stuff, and I definitely know. I know I need to. You get into a comfort zone of not trying stuff, because it's just not comfortable sometimes to try different things, and I think that's where you need to be a little uncomfortable and try and learn from it. That was a long.
Oh, that's a good one though. No, that's wonderful. I think a lot of people. I hear from a lot of people who do fantastic things. So to be uncomfortable is a very, very important sign that you're actually on the right track, because you've pushed yourself outside of that comfort zone and outside of that box that you were maybe putting yourselves in. And it's often where you're uncomfortable that you find that that's actually where you need to be, right? That's where you grow into who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So this has been an amazing interview. I've really enjoyed this so much.
Thanks for your time.
Such a pleasure. I hope your set is going to be all you want it to be.
I hope so too. We'll see.
And we'll be there.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
It's such a pleasure.
Nice one.
Nice to meet you, Darren.
You too. Thanks for being on.
Was that good enough?
Yeah.